want you to just try to imagine something for a second. The single worst moment of a parent's life.
The worst possible moment.
Right. Your daughter has vanished. I mean, just into thin air. Her car's been found in an alleyway, burned to a crisp.
You have nothing. No answers, no body, just this gaping hole.
And you're sitting by the phone just praying for anything. For the police, ransom demand, whatever.
And then it finally rings.
It rings. You pick it up, and it's not the police. It's a man's voice. And he asks you, are you related to Dorothy Scott?
Your heart just stops.
You say yes, and he just says, I've got her. And then, click, he hangs up.
And if that wasn't horrific enough, he doesn't just do it once. He calls back. The next week. And the week after that.
For 4 years.
For 4 years.
4 years of taunting a grieving mother. It's just sick.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at a case that is absolutely going to stick with you.
We are talking about the 1980 disappearance and murder of Dorothy Jane Scott. And look, our stack of sources for this one is massive. We've got police reports from true crime blogs, archival news clippings, some really detailed Reddit threads, and even forensic anthropology journals.
And our mission today, it isn't just to go over the timeline. We really want to dig past the usual 1980s crime stats and focus on the mystery of the voice.
Yeah.
I mean, how did a stalker know everything, and I mean everything, about this woman? And how did he pull off this psychological horror story in real time and just disappear?
Exactly. This was not a random crime. This felt like a carefully orchestrated nightmare. So let's set the stage. It's 1980, Anaheim, California.
Right in the shadow of Disneyland.
It's supposed to be this suburban paradise. But for Dorothy Scott, it was anything but. And when you look at her profile, she doesn't really fit the typical victim profile you see, does she?
Not at all. Not even a little bit. In 1980s California, high-risk victims were often hitchhikers, people involved in the drug trade. Dorothy was 32, a single mom to a 4-year-old boy, Shanti. She lived a very, very quiet life.
One source quotes a friend saying she was dull as a phone book, which is, a bit harsh, but it gets the point across.
It does. She was religious, didn't really date, lived with her aunt, and relied on her parents, Vera and Jacob, for babysitting. She was the definition of low risk.
But, and this is a huge but, there's this one strange contrast in her life.
Her job.
Yeah, her job. She was a secretary at a place called Swinger's Psych Shop and Custom John's Head Shop.
Okay, Swinger's Psych Shop definitely sounds a little wild.
It sounds completely at odds with the church-going single mom vibe.
Absolutely. But from the records, it looks like she was strictly back office. I mean, this was a head shop, so it sold alternative items, incense, paraphernalia. But Dorothy wasn't part of that scene. She was doing bookkeeping, answering the phone.
But those phones, that's where it all started, wasn't it? The terror.
This is the stalker's pregame. He didn't just grab her. He hunted her psychologically first. Months before she was taken, she started getting these calls at work.
And the caller knew these impossible details. What she was wearing that day, who she'd just talked to.
It's terrifying. It means he was either in the shop or he was watching her constantly.
And the threats were graphic. I'm looking at a police report here. He told her, quote, "When I get you alone, I will hack you up into fragments so no one will ever find you."
Just brutal. But there's one detail in all this that is the absolute key to the whole mystery.
What's that?
Dorothy told her mother, Vera, that the voice on the phone, it sounded familiar.
Familiar.
Yeah. She couldn't place it, but she knew it. It was like a memory she just couldn't quite reach.
So not a stranger, someone in her daily orbit. A customer, a neighbor.
A delivery guy. Someone so ordinary you'd forget him, but obsessive enough to track her every move.
And he escalated. It wasn't just calls, there was the GIF.
The dead rose. He called her, told her to go outside. And there, on the hood of her car, was a single dead rose.
That is straight out of a horror movie. It's such a clear message. I can get to you anytime.
And she took it seriously. She wasn't naive. She started taking karate lessons, talked to her dad about getting a gun. She was being careful. But with a predator like this, they just wait. They wait for a break in your routine.
And on May 28, 1980, that break happened.
So let's walk through that night. It's a Wednesday. Dorothy's at a staff meeting at the shop. It's getting late.
And then something completely random happens to her coworker, Conrad Bostron.
Right. His arm starts swelling up. He's got this red rash. Turns out to be a black widow spider bite.
A spider bite. People on the forums have wondered, was that a setup?
I think it's highly unlikely. You can't really train a spider. But the stalker was watching. He saw the chaos. He saw an opportunity. He saw Dorothy, being the good person she was, insist on taking Conrad to the hospital.
So Dorothy and another coworker, Pam Head, they get Conrad into Dorothy's car and head for the UC Irvine Medical Center.
But, and this is it, this is the most critical clue in the entire case, they make a stop first.
Okay, where?
On the way, Dorothy stops at her parents' house to check on her son, Shanti.
Right. So she runs inside for a minute.
And her mother, Vera, notices it's getting chilly. Dorothy was wearing a black scarf. Her mom suggests she change it for a warmer one, so Dorothy takes off the black scarf and puts on a red one.
A red scarf. She wasn't wearing it at work. She wasn't wearing it an hour before. She only put it on during that brief, unplanned stop.
Keep that red scarf in your mind. It is the smoking gun.
So they get to the hospital. Conrad gets treated. It's late now, around 11 p.m. when he's discharged. Dorothy tells them to wait in the lobby while she gets the car.
She walks out into that dark parking lot, alone. Pam and Conrad are waiting. A few minutes go by. Then they see her car, a white station wagon, coming toward them.
But something's wrong.
Yeah. The headlights are on high beams, blinding them. And the car is speeding towards the entrance, but it doesn't slow down. It takes a sharp right and peels out of the lot into the night.
And at that moment, they didn't know.
Not for sure. They thought maybe an emergency with her son. But when she didn't answer her phone, when she didn't show up, they knew.
The next morning, they find the car.
About 10 miles away, in an alley, completely torched.
And that's usually where it ends. The killer destroys the evidence and vanishes. But this guy...
He was just getting started.
This is where the psychological torture begins. 2 weeks later, the calls start again. Not to her work.
To her mother, Vera, every single Wednesday.
The same day Dorothy was taken.
He'd call, ask that same question, "Are you related to Dorothy Scott?" And then taunt her, "I've got her." Or sometimes, "I killed her."
In one of those calls, he drops the detail that proves he was there.
The scarf. He told Vera that Dorothy was wearing a red scarf that night.
Let's just pause on that. The only people who knew about that scarf were her parents and the two coworkers in the car.
Which means the killer was either watching her parents' house that night, or he was following them so closely he saw her walk out wearing it. He was right on top of them.
For 4 years, he kept calling. How did the police not catch him?
It was the 80s. You have to remember the tech.
Yeah.
No caller ID. Tracing a call took time. You had to physically keep the line open while an operator worked the switches.
And he knew that.
He was smart. The calls were short. He'd say his piece and hang up before they could complete the trace.
It's infuriating.
But the pattern did break.
Yeah.
Eventually. One Wednesday, April 1984.
What happened?
Vera usually answered. But this one time, Dorothy's father, Jacob, picked up the phone.
Yeah.
The caller heard a man's voice and just slammed the phone down.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And the call stopped.
They stopped for months.
That feels huge. He was afraid of the dad.
I think he was afraid of being recognized. Remember, Dorothy said the voice was familiar. If it was someone the family knew, even casually, Jacob might have recognized it. Vera was in a state of grief, but Jacob, he might have just said, "Wait, is that Mike?"
He was hiding in plain sight, so. Fast forward a few months. August 1984.
A discovery. Construction workers are digging in a remote area off Santa Ana Canyon Road, and they hit bones.
But the scene was compromised.
Severely. 2 years earlier, in 1982, a massive brush fire had swept through that canyon.
So the evidence was?
Charred. The fire destroyed almost all the organic material. They found a skull, a pelvis, but they were in really bad shape.
But they found 2 things that identified her.
Her turquoise ring and her watch.
And the watch was stopped.
Stopped at 12:32 a.m. on May 29th.
That's only an hour and a half, roughly, after she was taken from the hospital.
It gives you this brutal, compressed timeline. She was taken around 11 p.m. By 12:30 a.m., it was over. All those years of phone calls. He was taunting them about someone who was already gone.
And there was one other detail found at the scene. Something I don't know what to make of it.
The dog.
A dog's skeleton placed on top of her remains.
It seemed intentional. We looked into this, and there's a forensic theory that's a countermeasure. If a cadaver dog gets a hit or someone sees a bone, they might start digging, find the dog's skeleton first.
And then think, oh, someone just buried their pet and stopped digging.
Exactly. It's a decoy. It shows this cold calculation. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was someone thinking about how to get away with it forever.
Okay, so we have a calculated killer, a familiar voice, the red scarf clue. There had to be suspects.
Police interviewed everyone, but one name keeps popping up, both in the files and in the online communities. Mike Butler.
Who is he?
A mechanic. He lived up in the Santa Ana Mountains, not far from where they found her body, and he was a regular at the head shop where Dorothy worked.
So he fits that familiar but not a friend profile.
He does. Described as eccentric, into alternative religions. And years later, Dorothy's son, Shanti, came to believe Bettler was the one. But it's just suspicion. With no DNA technology back then, they couldn't tie him to it.
What about, the usual suspects for that era, like the
Yeah.
Golden State Killer Joseph James D'Angelo?
It's a valid question. D'Angelo was active, he was a stalker, and he had a signature move blinding victims with headlights or a flashlight.
Which matches the parking lot perfectly.
It does. And he made creepy calls. But the MO doesn't quite fit. D'Angelo was a home invader, a rapist. He didn't typically abduct women, kill them immediately, and then spend 4 years fixated on tormenting the mother. This felt personal. The Golden State Killer was about his own sick gratification. This felt like he was about destroying the Scott family.
So here we are, decades later. The case is cold. Is it just the fire?
It's largely the fire. The heat basically cooked the DNA out of the bones. In 1984, that was a dead end.
But what about today?
Today, there's always a chance. With mitochondrial DNA, you might be able to get a profile from a tooth, or maybe something was preserved deep inside a bone. But that's a long shot, and it relies on that evidence being perfectly preserved for over 40 years.
It's so frustrating. The answer could be sitting in an evidence box somewhere.
And for Jacob and Vera Scott, it's too late. They both passed away without ever knowing. They spent the rest of their lives just waiting for a call that never came.
And Shanti, the little boy she went to check on, grew up without a mother.
The trauma just ripples outward.
So when we step back from this whole nightmare, the voice, the scarf, the years of torment, what's the final chilling takeaway?
For me, it's the ordinariness of the suspect. This wasn't some monster hiding in the woods. He was likely a guy you'd see at the grocery store. He knew about the scarf because he was there. He hung up when the dad answered because he was afraid of being named.
He was a coward, hiding in plain sight.
Precisely. He could have been the delivery driver, the mechanic, a quiet neighbor. And he used his own average appearance as a cloak. It allowed him to torture a family for 4 years, and no one ever looked twice at him.
That is a terrifying thought to leave you with. We always look for the monster in the shadows, but sometimes the danger is just a blurry face in the background of your own life.
And he got away with it.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Cases like this do get solved, even 40 years later. If you're listening and you think you know something, reach out. But for today, the mystery of the voice remains. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Stay safe out there.
See you next time.